Hello and welcome to the Book Talk Babes podcast. This episode will contain explicit language and spoilers for A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. My name is Ashley, and today I'm joined by my two lovely friends, Elaine.
Hello.
And Liana.
Hi.
Welcome, new listeners. Thanks, returning listeners. So like I said, today we are going to be discussing A Fate Inked in Blood.
This was my pick.
Yes, this is Liana's pick for this month. And this is just going to be a duology, right?
I think so. Yeah, wasn't it? What do y'all?
I feel like everything she's been posting is like the second and final book is coming the beginning of next year.
Yeah. Didn't one of you
just saw
post that?
Yeah,
May.
I think I sent y'all something. Year. Yeah, so I kind of like that. I know I really like duologies, especially because I feel like I'm started a lot of trilogies and I'm just not finished with them. And I'm like, if you had just done this in 2.
And then we have like
I'd be done already.
Outlander and ACOTAR, and they never end.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm done. I don't want to read anymore. There's too many pages.
Well, I mean, yeah, the benefit with, I guess, at least Throne of Glass for me was they were already all out. So I didn't have to wait for the next book.
Yeah.
And most of them were out for ACOTAR. So, yeah. Okay. Who would like to read the book description?
Oh, I guess I could, since this was my pick.
I'd say it's up to you. I have it ready if you don't want to.
No, I will do it.
Okay.
I was not typing the correct title.
I will say I am very glad that I did this primarily on the audiobook.
Okay.
Because I would have pronounced all kinds of names wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I did that thing where it's like I just did it phonetically or went like in my head.
Yeah. I mean, some of them after like I listened to it and then I saw it, I was like, okay, I see how that's pronounced that way.
Yeah.
But then other ones I was like, heh. So I wrote myself little like how to say them.
Okay. A shield maiden blessed by the gods battles to unite a nation under a power-hungry king, while also fighting her growing desire for his fiery son. In the first book, it's just Logan giggles. In the first book of a Norse-inspired fantasy romance series from the best-selling author. Oh, we don't care about that. Bound in an unwanted marriage, Freya spends her days gutting fish but dreams of becoming a warrior and of putting an axe in her boorish husband's back. Same. Freya's dreams abruptly become reality when her husband betrays her to the region's Jarl, landing her in a fight to the death against his son Bjorn. To survive, Freya is forced to reveal her deepest secret. She possesses a drop of a goddess's blood, which makes her a shield maiden with magic capable of repelling any attack. It was foretold such a magic would unite the fractured nation of Scotland beneath the one who controls the shield maiden's fate. Believing he's destined to rule Scotland as king, the fanatical Jarl binds Freya with a blood oath and orders Bjorn to protect her from their enemies. Desperate to prove her strength, Freya must train to fight and learn to control her magic, all while facing perilous tests set by the gods. Greatest test of all, however, may be resisting her forbidden attraction to Bjorn. If Freya succumbs to her lust for the charming and fierce warrior, she risks not only her own destiny, but the fate of all the people she swore to protect.
Excellent job.
I read. I only know how to pronounce these names because I've watched the show Vikings.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so like the Jarl, how did y'all pronounce it when you read it?
Jarl.
No, not Jarl, but like him, the person, the guy.
Snorri?
Snorri?
Yeah, so the audiobook, it sounds more like Snorri.
Yes, Snorri.
Like, okay.
Like it has D's or whatever. Yeah. And I like looked at it and I was like, that's not how I would have said that.
Snorri.
I said
I would have
Snorri.
said Snorri.
Honestly, I lost track of who was who sometimes.
Oh, I also wrote that down for myself as well.
Wait, so overall, what were thoughts before we get into the nitty gritty?
Yes, before we get into it.
Overall.
I really enjoyed this book. And then
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah.
The only problem I had is that like I kind of wanted to shake her a couple times. Be like, stop being so impulsive, because I'm not impulsive.
Yeah.
Like, think this out before you act, please.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I felt the same, but then I remembered she's like 20 years old.
Yeah, she's only, yeah, I get it. But yeah, I did want to be like, listen, we're going to sit down.
I was like,
Can
because
we talk about this anger problem you have?
In my mind, she's like 30, but
Right.
Yeah.
I like automatically age up the characters now.
Yeah.
I mean, I texted Ashley when I first finished it, and I was like, I really like this book, but
Yes.
like once I finished, I couldn't remember what happened.
Well,
so I don't know what that says.
yeah, I finished like an hour and a half ago, and Elaine finished, I think, about 30 minutes ago. So we'll refresh your memory. Elaine saw my Instagram story where I was like, I gotta go finish this book because we're talking about it tonight. And she's like, I just finished 30 minutes ago. I was like, perfect. I tried to finish it on Friday, but they had me doing inventory stuff at work, and I can't count and listen at the same time.
Oh, no, I'm the same way. I can't write and listen at the same time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's too much talking in my head.
Yeah, I tried to listen to it while updating my book journal, but that didn't work out. I was like, I can't do both.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I finished it, or I refreshed myself on it before I traveled, and then
Okay.
thinking about it, I'm like, what happened? So I listened to another book podcast. Yeah, I listened to another book podcast, and that helped me remember.
Refresh. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah.
Do y'all have a favorite character or favorite part of the book that you can remember?
I liked the showdown in the creepy cave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With the, like, zombie guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good.
The one thing that came to mind was when she killed her husband.
Right.
Oh yeah.
That
pretty-
was
I know.
Dude, like,
chef's kisses.
Yes. When she threw the
I know.
axe, and I was like, yes.
that was like in the first 10 pages too. I was like, oh my god.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Mhm.
That was great.
Did she know that she could do powers then? Or no, not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
It
That was
was, yeah.
literally right after she showed her powers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I thought, like, why not? Maybe because, she was in a blind rage that she didn't think to, like, make her hand safe before grabbing an axe that was
Well,
literally on fire.
I think at that point also she didn't realize that she could do that.
Yeah.
It's not until the part you were talking about that Bjorn gives her the idea that might work.
I like how her first instinct is to grab an axe that's on fire.
The closest weapon that was to her.
I know. It was
And
the
like
closest weapon. And everyone's telling her she was stupid for doing that. And she's like, I don't regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, he needed to die. It's okay. But yeah, I guess so. At the beginning, we find out that her family married her off to this, I guess, fishmonger guy in the village, but he's got a high standing because he has the blood of a god, and so
The
he
fish god.
can, yeah, he can control. Well, I guess like what the god, some god of like
Water.
the ocean or whatever, water. I don't know.
The Norse
He can
Poseidon.
yeah, he can control the fish, and he even tortures a whale at one point. Which right there was like, I would grab a fiery axe and kill you as well.
Yeah.
He can control the water animals and the tide.
Yeah.
And then she goes on about his cruelty because he fucks with the wildlife and
yeah. And he screws over other fishermen. He makes sure like the fish don't go to like their nets, so he, you know,
they
can
all have
control.
to come to him.
Yeah.
And that's why I think her family married her to him, because he's like the richest fisherman in the village.
He has high standing or whatever.
But he's like this fat, ugly, gross guy, and he smells bad, and Freya just hates him.
I wish we got you don't find out till later that like her dad died on her like wedding night, and I'm like, how? What happened? Someone tell me. Did he he literally just drop dead? Did he have a heart attack? Like, did someone kill him? I need to know. They never said. No, they just say that he died. When she's talking to her brother, he says something about like their dad dying, you know, on her wedding night, not getting to see her happy like wedding bliss. And she's like, "What wedding bliss?"
Doesn't he leave Freya to like pick up fish or something by the water?
Yeah, they have like a disagreement, and he makes a whole bunch of fish come out of the fjord near where they're at, and leaves her to try to catch all of them or put them. She decides to put them back in the water as fast as she can. Of course, some die, and that's when she throws a fish into our tall, dark stranger's face.
That's when Bjorn emerges like Aphrodite in Botticelli's
right?
Just like coming out of the water. And she is just like, who is that?
Yeah, I was too.
I was like, wow, things are happening quick here.
Things are progressing. Yeah, I put, well, hello, tall, dark stranger.
I was at the beach last weekend. That didn't happen to me.
Were you throwing fish?
I was throwing rocks.
Apparently, you needed to throw fish.
Fish. Ugh. Why can't it ever happen to me? But yeah. Or am I confusing it with a different book? Doesn't he proposition her?
Kinda.
He's really flirty.
He's really flirty with her, and she's like flirting back with him, and then she's like, I'm a married woman, I have to stop this.
Yeah.
And then he right. He also like, oh, I have to go. So he runs off, and then
no, I think he asks us like, where's your husband at? And she's like, why do you want to know? And she's like, I think he says something like, oh, I'll take care of him so that way you don't have to feel guilty by being with me.
Say less.
Right? I'll tell you exactly where he's at. But yeah, so they go their separate ways. It then goes to her like she's taking some fish to her mom's house, and her brother shows up, and then
her shitty brother.
Yeah, her whole family
is terrible.
Just screw them.
Except for Bjorn. Like, everyone in this book is so cunty, and not in the good way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unfortunately.
So cunty. I'm like, you guys all suck.
They do all suck. I like the Boat Hill.
I was gonna say the girl, Jarl.
Yeah, Boat Hill.
I liked.
Okay.
I liked her, as well. I think she was the only one that was.
Yeah.
But it was also decent to her.
Snorri's wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Ilva's a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, totally uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
Just all of it. It's like, can someone smack her? Like, can someone just like, you know, make it look like an accident or something?
I wish.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
I
Liv.
hated her.
I like Liv.
Oh yeah, the healer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the healer was sassy. I liked her.
Yeah.
I liked her.
But I just want to be like, girl, nobody wants your man. Calm down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Right.
But yeah, while she's walking with her brother, she gets they run into her husband, the Jarl, his little band of people he has with him, his poet, the Skald, which her name was, we don't find out till later, but her name's Steinen. And then Bjorn, the tall dark stranger. Do what?
I'm gonna trust you on that. I don't remember. You know, I'm not good with names, and these names are like Norwegian. So
yeah. Well, Steinen's the one that sings the stories.
Okay. Yeah, we don't trust her.
I didn't trust anybody.
No,
because she's like, tell me how your life happened so that I can weave it into song. It's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'd rather not. But yeah, so they run into the Jarl and his people, and then he makes Bjorn fight her. And of course, Bjorn doesn't want to, but
it's to force her powers, right?
Yeah, that's his plan, is to make her desperate enough that she'll invoke the god's name that she has the blood of, so it'll show her powers. Because Bjorn is also one of the people that has some blood of the gods. I think his was Tyr.
Tyr, yeah.
Tyr.
Yeah.
The only reason I knew how to pronounce Tyr is because there's a fitness company called Tyr.
Oh, alrighty then.
I was like, I know this one.
And of course, yeah, he kind of half-heartedly kind of fights with her, and then whatever. And I don't know. All she has is like her shield left, and he keeps hitting her shield, and then she's desperate, and she says the god's name, and then he like hits the shield and then ricochets off into the woods and hits a tree. And then the Jarl's like, perfect. You're divorced from your husband, Vragi, and now you're going to marry me.
Yeah.
Because you're the shield maiden
that
my seer told me about.
Basically sold her into marriage.
Yeah, he sold her out.
What is it? It's Lynn? It's spelled H-L-I-N.
Hiln. Hiln is how I think is how the audiobook was saying it. Hiln.
Okay. Hiln. Okay. Yeah,
the goddess Hiln.
She's the goddess of what? Protection?
Protection.
Yeah, because Freya ultimately can make her weapons invulnerable by muttering this goddess's name and like an actual magical force field.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
And then she can start to extend it to people. Like Bella.
Yeah.
She's Bella.
Ew, don't say that.
She's Bella from Twilight.
As someone that doesn't like Twilight, which is you, do not do that.
Wait, because like doesn't her shield also work against the other god kids?
Yeah, like it protects against other
she's
god
Bella
powers
from Twilight because Bella's
whatever.
Shield can protect her from the other vampires' powers.
I refuse to acknowledge this. Don't you taint this book with Twilight.
For our listeners who are having trouble picturing it, those are her powers.
No. It's like a bright light that covers.
I think she has to be touching.
Yeah, she has to be touching the other people.
The other shields for it to
Which
expand.
I mean, if you're trying to be stealthy, that's not a good power to have.
Well, no, that's why they wait till the last minute when they do use it in that battle.
Yeah.
Later on. But yeah, so she's told she's gonna have to marry the Jarl.
Gross.
And I know. And then her ex-husband, Vragi, starts talking about how maybe he'll go get her best friend Ingrid, who her brother's in love with, and marry her. And while he's riding away, he keeps talking about it. And so it makes her so angry. She grabs Bjorn's little fire axe and throws it at him and kills him.
Yeah.
But
and then in the process burns the fuck out of her hand.
Fire. And
Yeah.
it burns her hand to like the bone. Right?
Oh, I don't think it was quite that bad.
But it's
I don't know.
But
she loses her epidermis.
It took off quite a bit of skin. She's definitely scarred and everything after she gets healed.
And then she faints from the pain. Everyone's like, "You're so stupid. Why'd you do that?" And she's like, "It was totally worth it." And everyone's like, "You're stupid." And she's like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
Everyone really likes to call her stupid.
Well, just in that part, and it was like funny because like someone's like, "Bjorn, why did you let her do that?" And he goes, "I didn't let her do anything. I didn't think she'd grab a fiery axe.
Yeah.
She just grabbed it."
A lot of people are like risk averse to doing that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I was just standing there. Like it all happened so quickly."
Right.
Yeah. He's like, "How the hell was I supposed to know she'd grab it?"
Yeah. Well, and then before she faints, she tells Bjorn that he's like hot or something.
Well, that's like after they get back to
I think that's when she's getting healed because Liv gives her like
they give her some kind of like
pain
elixir.
medicine.
Yeah. She like blows some smoke in her face, and she before she passes out from that, she starts telling Bjorn how attractive he is. how beautiful he is. I forget which god or which mythical person she refers to him as. It was funny though.
Yeah. It made me think of a time when I was in the hospital and I was really loopy from drugs, and the hottest nurse came in. And I was like, ooh.
Oh my gosh. No.
So he looked really good. It made me think of that.
Now the question is, did he actually look good, or was that the drugs making him look good?
Oh no, he looked good because my mom turned to look at me and she made that face that moms make. He had muscles and everything.
That's funny.
Yeah. I remember everything. I was just really loopy.
That's funny. But yeah, so she gets healed, and then she's scrubbed and polished for her wedding to the Jarl.
And the reason why she's getting married to him.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, tell us, Elaine. We're totally passing that up.
Because a seer told him a prophecy that a shield maiden will help him, or whoever controls the shield maiden will become king of Scotland.
Yeah.
And so now that he found it, and see the fact that like the seer told him specifically, Snorri, that he's like, oh, it has to be me. I have to find this maiden, and the way he thinks he can control her is just by like, you'll just be my wife.
Yeah. He thinks he can, which I find it funny because like I think the words that they use are like, whoever controls her fate gets to become king of Scotland, and then but they constantly are like, but because you have god blood, you're unfated. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so what?
Right.
So technically no one can control her fate except for herself.
Right.
Maybe that's what they're getting at.
I think that, and like, well, the whole time he is just like, this is a sign from the gods. This is what the gods want. The gods are telling me this. And I'm like,
yeah.
Are they though?
Well, he takes it.
I feel like you're stretching it a bit.
He takes it so literally, in that you are now my wife and I control you.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to mention her whole wedding made me I was so mad listening to that part. Because like they get married in front of everybody, and then
but he also already has a wife.
Yes, he does have a wife. His wife is Ylva, and she can do runic magic. And she's not happy about this, but she's okay with it. And she comes up behind Freya after the wedding ceremony in front of everybody and cuts her dress off so they can do the blood tattoo ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bitch, like, excuse me?
Also, like, what's her name? Elva. She keeps telling Freya, like, hands off my man and I hate you. And Freya's like, okay, I don't want your man. And why are you being such a dick?
She only really does that at like the very beginning. Because after that, Ilva, like when they do their little blood oath that they do,
yeah,
she just doesn't like what Freya's presence is doing to her husband, because he is just fanatical about becoming king, and he does not care what lengths he has to go to make that happen.
Yeah.
And she is very much like, no, we have to protect our people and keep them safe and worry about them. And he's just like, fuck the people. I need to be king.
Yeah.
I know.
Of like, who if they all die?
Yeah, there's like a blood ritual, and usually during a blood ritual, the god kid will, you know, their power, whoever the god is that's in their blood, like you see a manifestation of it during this ritual. So
yeah, it's a ritual to see, I think, to see if the god will claim them, right?
Yeah.
So there's everyone's seeing Hiln, which is expected, but then something else starts to happen.
Well, no one sees it except for
Bjorn,
Bjorn, and Ilva.
Yeah. So Freya starts freaking out, and then Bjorn stops the ritual, and Elva gets pissed at her for some reason.
Well, Ilva gets mad at him because she's like, you broke the rune circle or whatever. And then, she gets mad at Freya. And I'm like, it's not her fault.
Right? I know. I just want to be like, what is your problem?
I know.
Yeah.
And then just like throughout this, every interaction they have, no matter who is making choices, if Freya is there and things didn't go according to plan, Elva's like, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
And Freya's like, what the fuck? And then Freya's like, I didn't ask to be here.
Yeah.
Like, what? So,
well, and we also, I can't remember when we find out, but we do find out, like, Ilva is not Bjorn's mom.
so, she's a stepmom.
Yeah.
And Bjorn has a brother.
Well, yeah, half brother.
Yeah,
that is Ilva's son.
A younger brother. And I think Ilva is trying to get her son to be the heir.
Well, originally, that's what she I don't think she was too terribly upset about Bjorn being taken by Harold.
No.
Or whatever, back when he was a kid. But yeah, Bjorn's mom is a seer who made the prediction of Freya.
Yes.
Or the shield maiden, who ends up being Freya. But at this point in time, all we know is that she died in a fire.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Bjorn's been feeling guilty because he didn't cause the fire, but his fire started appearing.
Yeah, at this moment in time, all that we know as readers is that she died in a fire.
Yeah.
And we also know that he got injured the first time he ever summoned his fire.
Yes.
But you don't find out till later that those were the same moment.
Yeah, but he was just a kid.
Yeah, he was, I forget how old he was, like 5 or some shit.
Yeah,
something like that.
He was really young. Yeah.
Yeah, Bjorn's supposed to be like this 6'5" muscled mountain of a man with like a shaved sides and a beard and like
tattoos
everywhere. And he has like that Viking like ponytail or whatever. And
the sides are shaved but not the top.
And just picturing that, like, it's hard to not get ick because like of all the Viking contemporaries who were like really like right wing.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know where you're going with this. I just automatically think of like, so like I've watched Vikings. I watched the Vikings Valhalla.
Yeah.
I watched The Last Kingdom. I watch a lot of Viking shows. So like that's where my mind goes.
The Last Kingdom is so good.
I love The Last Kingdom. It's really good.
I was thinking of Uhtred. That's what he made me think of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
Uhtred was so pretty.
That whole cast is really good.
Yeah.
I love all of them.
That's a really good show.
I follow some of them. Yeah, that's a good show. Yeah.
FYI, listeners, if you want a good epic that's concluded, and it was actually pretty good the whole way through. And then Freya's like just this blonde thing.
Yeah. You forgot. He has green eyes.
Oh,
yes.
He's got dark hair and green eyes.
That'll get you. That'll get you.
Right.
So, God. Okay. So, like, I liked this book. Like, after my initial reading, I liked it, and then like, I still liked it. But then, as I heard others review it, it's actually very 50-50 with readers. Because on TikTok they're like, books I liked, and I didn't like. We'll just like pop the little cover up. They're like, A Fate Inked in Blood was like a for some people, and then I read the comments and I'm like, yeah, I DNF'd it, or yeah, I finished it, but I was like, it was okay. And like, I read it, but I like looking back on it, like a lot of the sequence of events did not make sense to me.
Yeah. Like what?
No, I mean like they like overall they did, but I didn't like that it was just first person point of view the entire book.
Well, you just don't like first person.
Well, I've been reading more first person, but
okay, I was like, I don't have a problem with any of the point of view on that.
Yeah, I've been reading more first person, but it's still dual point of view. So I thought at some point we'd see Bjorn.
Yeah.
But I think
maybe in the second book, I understand why it's like all in hers because of like the twist at the end. But like maybe in the second book, maybe we can get dual. I think that would make sense because then now that we know.
Also, I think looking back, my big frustration with the book, well, not the book, but like, I understand this girl is like 20 and she's impulsive, but I just wanted her to like stop and think for a little bit. And then everyone that she came across was so mean to her. For what reason? Like,
yeah.
I think because she was like, they know that there are people that have like the god's blood in them and whatever, but like she was like the first one that they know of to have that specific power.
Okay.
And she's like, that prophecy has just been like, I think it was more of like a fear. Like people were afraid of like what her being around was going to mean and what was going to happen. Because like Ylva like is a good example of that. Like she was constantly being mean to her, and I think it was mostly out of fear of like what was going to happen to her people. obviously there's going to be fighting, there's going to be battles, there's going to be war, because none of the Jarls are going to want to unite under one person.
Yeah.
Especially not Snotty.
There was no attempt from the other characters, no attempt to understand Freya's feelings in this situation. Like,
no, they
were also selfish. All they could think of, like, especially Snorri, but I'm not counting Snorri, but like Elva and the storyteller and just nearly everyone that Freya came into contact with, nobody was interested in her as a person and in how she was handling this. They just saw the Shield Maiden and that she was united with Snorri, and then, like, from the jump, Elva was a bitch to her. And like every decision
even her
she
son.
made, every decision she made, they're like, "You're stupid." Oh, and then her family is shitty, and she thought that her brother was going to attempt to save her on her wedding day, but he doesn't. And
he couldn't walk. He had a broken leg.
Yeah, he couldn't walk. No.
Well, and then
I think it was the fact that Ingrid came with her father's sword and thought, "Oh, you're gonna gift this to me. That's so great." And then she's like, "It would be a great gift for your husband, new husband." And she's like,
swords.
"What? Like, it's not gonna be for me? Like, this is my father's sword." Like,
he thought there would be some attempt to stop the wedding so that she could be free, and she just ends up on this journey that she didn't want to go on. And then there's just some, like, suspicious stuff happening the entire time. Like, I don't they get ambushed at some point?
They're on their way to the Sacred Mountain place or whatever to meet with the other Jarls, and they do get attacked on the way.
Yeah, just some, like, sketchy stuff keeps happening, and so she's trying to solve the mystery of that, and no one's listening to her because she's just a stupid girl, and it's just like, come on.
Well, also, I mean, the only person she ever really voices any sort of suspicion to is Bjorn. And he's like, you have to have proof if you're gonna bring kind of accusations against anybody for the things that you have seen. And technically at that point, like, she saw what she thought she saw, but wasn't really what was happening.
Well, and then he's like, it's no secret that you and Elva don't get along, and she's like, that's not my fault. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, even Ilva's son, Life, is like, you know, when he shows up, he's like, shouldn't we just kill her so we can avoid any of these problems that we're gonna start having, like battle and whatever? And Snowdy's like, no, what? Well, also Bjorn's like, no, we are not gonna kill her.
Well, and then they get after her for having a flirtation with Bjorn. They're like, you're a married woman, that's not appropriate. And she's like, what the fuck? We're like, we all know this was a sham.
Well,
like,
I mean, that also doesn't happen till closer to the end. Like, they all kind of see maybe something happening, but no one says anything until Boathill's actually the first person that says anything. And she's just, and it's kind of vague, and it's just kind of like a warning, like, hey, be careful. If I'm noticing this, other people are going to notice this.
Well, because isn't it later on he, like, finger blasts her at camp?
That's also that. So Boathill tells her before that, that while they were still, where were they?
I think they just crossed the hill.
Well, it was before that, before she, like, gets so cold or whatever, Boathill tells her to be careful, and that's when, like, she goes to her campfire, gets really drunk, and ends up throwing up and whatever. Then they get back to their village and it's on fire or whatever, And after they go up the hill and she has been warmed up by Bjorn and Bodhill, that's when she tells her that.
Yeah, because Bjorn's like, I need to lay with her to keep her warm. And
oh yeah.
And
but I think they all know, like, he has he's the god of, like, he has the god of fire, so he's like,
yeah,
the cold doesn't bother him.
Yeah, Bodhill
so,
says like he could walk up this mountain. Everyone keeps calling it a mountain except for Bjorn.
Like,
Bjorn's like, it's a fucking hill. There's a funny joke later where like Freya's like, is this the hill you want to die on? And he's just like, don't. But yeah, Bodhill's like, he could walk up this mountain with like nothing on because of the fire in his body because of the god that he has the blood of or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, everyone's like, he's the god of fire, you know, he can warm her up. And he's like, yes, I can.
Yes, I can warm her up. I will wrap her up in my arms underneath this cloak. And none of y'all will question it.
And then he like gets her off with his hand.
Yes.
Like, oh, okay, she's gonna really warm up.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot why they end up going through the zombie cave.
So they backtrack a little bit. They are leaving to go meet the other Jarls on like a sacred ground so no one can fight or have weapons. And,
okay.
They get ambushed their first night out. But on their way, before they get to that camp, Freya sees a specter that tells her she has to make a sacrifice on that mountain at like on the night of the full moon or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, if we, get ambushed again, or if we keep going the route that we're going, like we won't make it in time. You have to take this, fucking treacherous cave path to get there faster. But yeah, it's full of fucking zombie guys.
Yeah.
Or it is allegedly, it's a myth that they hear stories about, but it ends up being true.
But there were zombie guys.
There were zombie guys. True story.
Well, and this is when Freya first discovers her alternate power, because she like curses the zombies.
Yeah.
And thorns come up from the ground and like pull them down.
Well, and I think she also doesn't realize necessarily that like that's a power that she has. She knows it happens because she's like, I curse y'all to hell or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it happens, but she doesn't at that point realize like, oh, I could do this again.
Yeah. They were just kind of like, okay, well, that solved the problem.
Yeah.
and moved on. And we're like, we're not gonna talk about what just happened.
Yeah, because later they just say that she vanquished them.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, okay.
Like, no, doesn't she? Bjorn tells her, like, you can maybe protect. You don't have to have a shield. Like, maybe you can just protect your hand. So that way she can grab his axe and throw it at the main zombie guy that they're cursed under.
Oh, yeah. At one point, she is touching Bjorn, and he's doing something.
Yeah,
he's doing some kind of combat.
Yeah, that's after the cave. So yeah, in the cave, Elaine's right. She Bjorn challenges the Jarl of the men that are cursed in this cave, trail thing, whatever, and gets him to do one-on-one combat. And so Bjorn can't fight with his axe, so it's off to the side. And before he battles, he tells her, like, Hiln will protect you or something like that. And then, it's not until like the end of the fight, she's like, oh, wait, maybe I'll try protecting my hand and grab the axe. And then he's like, I forfeit. And so it doesn't break any rules. So she kills the Jarl and all the men that went into the cave with him disappear. But the men that came in after that Jarl's clan were still there. And then that's when she's like, I curse y'all to hell, blah, blah, blah. And then the vines sprout up, grab them, and drag them down or whatever. And then, after they get there and he's battling another Jarl's men, his dad's coming with reinforcements and they have archers. So they're shooting arrows.
Because they're trying to get past that barrier.
Yeah. And so she grabs onto him and shields him from any arrows that come their way.
And then there is another part. I'm, you guys can tell me the sequence of events because I'm just jumping around. There is another part where she's at the front line and she, again, like lights up her shield, and then because it's touching the other shields, they all get the power on their shield too.
Yeah. She does that a few times, I think.
Yeah, it happens a few times.
Okay. So let's see if we can summarize the last part of the book. I think this was the problem with it. Like, I read it and I liked it, but then I can't remember what happened.
No, I don't have that problem.
I like to backtrack a little bit. Did the whole zombie cave thing, I just kept picturing like the ghost from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So, it gave me that very like they're cursed kind of like.
Yeah.
So first I thought of like the zombies from Scooby-Doo Zombie Island.
Okay.
But then when she was fighting the ones and they were like crawling up on the walls, I immediately went to like the mummies from The Mummy Returns and how they were like scaling walls and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I totally see that. The
guys, I
think she says they were green. Doesn't she say like they
have like there's like a green glow to them? Yes.
Green glow, yeah. And then like her sword was going through them.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I thought zombies, but I was just like, oh, but they're like ghost.
Yeah.
But then like if they bite you or touch you, you turn into one of them. So it's like, I guess ghost zombies.
Well, I think if you die there, you become one of them.
Oh, okay.
But they like eat you.
Yeah, it's right. They eat you. Yeah.
Really fun.
Yeah. But so they do that. They get to the sacred thing. They fight off those other people. His dad comes with the reinforcements. Everyone's in the safe space of that mountain. They do the ritual. All of the gods show up and show their presence on the mortal plane or whatever.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, holy shit, like she's the real deal. Then they go back to the place that they're supposed to be staying there. And Ylva wards their door to protect against anyone that would cause them like harm.
Basically, she can't leave.
Right. And then, she can't leave that room for her own safety. Bjorn's also supposed to be in there and Ylva's supposed to be staying in there. And Snorri's taking his men or whatever to go talk to other Jarls to try to get them to align with him. And then, of course, Bjorn falls asleep, supposedly, and Freya's trying to fall asleep, and Ylva leaves. And then shortly after that, Bjorn leaves. And then Freya's like, what the fuck?
It's like, well, I'm going to leave.
Right? I'm leaving. So, she leaves. She's kind of sneaking around. She finds King Harold, who is the man that kidnapped Bjorn when he was a kid and raised him in his lands as a hostage. And she hears him talking to somebody, but she doesn't see who he's talking to. But she gathers from the conversation that he must be talking to a woman that has a child. So she thinks it's Ylva. And he leaves. She goes to try to see who has left that place also. She can't see anybody. She goes back to their hall, and then she sees a woman try to enter and gets flung back by the wards. So she thinks it's Ylva that can't even get into her own wards anymore because she is conspiring with the enemy. And then Bjorn shows up.
Yeah, he seems to conveniently show up.
Right.
In a bunch of instances.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, he's basically like her little shadow. He's supposed to stay with her and keep her safe. His dad has decided that was another thing. Like, his dad's like, you have to be her protector. Y'all are fated to be together, like destiny, blah, 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 blah. But then she's constantly like, oh, I can't be alone with Bjorn. It'll look bad, this, that, and whatever. And I'm like,
well, and
his
she's
dad
like
literally told, well, there's that. But I'm like, his dad literally told him, like, he has to keep you safe and be with you at all times. So it's really not that far-fetched of an idea that y'all would be in the same room together alone occasionally, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they all end up outside of the hall that they're supposed to be staying in. Snotty's like, what are y'all all doing out of here? You weren't supposed to. We forgot.
You forgot.
Yes.
To
evade capture.
Yes.
Oh, wait, which part are you talking about?
No, the makeout part.
Okay, against a tree to avoid being captured by Harold's men. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because Harold's men are like patrolling, and you know, they did the whole like make out with me so no one can tell who we are.
Yeah. Well, because like after the ritual, like everybody's basically like, it is just a free for all. People are drinking, dancing, having sex, having group sex. It is a wild ass party on top of this mountain.
It's a
look what happens when you take away people's like weapons. They just have a good time.
See, that's what we got to do world peace. Just take away all the weapons, and when we're all fucking and drinking.
There are quite a few people I do not want to have an orgy with.
Well, the orgy is optional,
but
we just figured out world peace,
right? But yeah, so they do that. They get all hot and heavy up against the tree to avoid being taken.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a fake kiss.
Yeah,
so the guards don't ask what's going on.
Yeah,
because they're looking for her, right?
Yeah, they're trying to find her.
Yeah. And Bjorn's like, hey, man, I'm just trying to get it in. Can y'all move along? And they're like, we have to see what she looks like. And he's like, do you? And they're like,
yeah,
I guess not.
Well, that's when he shows himself, like before he has his hood up. And then when they realize it's him, they're like, oh, okay, it's just Bjorn, whatever.
Like, sorry, man, like, sorry. Carry on.
Sorry we disturbed you. Even though they kind of stand there and stay watching for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she's like, why aren't they leaving?
Well, aren't her like tits out or something?
Yes. Her tits are out at that point. Yes.
Her tits are out, by the way.
Her tits are out. I forgot. Yeah. But yeah, so they do that. Then they all get back together, and Snotty's like, why is everybody outside of the protection of this ward that was supposed to be in here? And you know, Bjorn's like, Ylva's like, oh, I, went to go see whatever. And that's when Boathill shows up. She's like, she was with me.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking.
Yeah.
And then Bjorn's like, oh, I went to go see a seer. And they're like, what did they say? And he says something about like, I forget exactly what it was, but basically like, oh, our village might be on fire is how it was interpreted.
Yeah.
So Ylva kind of freaks out and was like, we have to like get back. We have to leave now.
Yeah.
And Boathill sends some people back to her place to gather up troops to meet them.
Boathill's power? Because she has a power.
Yes. So she has what was it, Elaine?
I think she can could tell if someone's being lying, or deceiving.
Okay. Yeah, being untruthful or deceptive or something.
Yeah. But she can still lie.
Yeah, she can still lie.
Because she does at one point, I think.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Okay, well, anyway.
It's implied. So, okay. So, Farah. Oh my God. Freya thinks that Boathill lies to protect Ylva. She still thinks that Ylva was talking to Harold.
Yeah, that Ylva's a traitor.
Yeah, she thinks Ylva's a traitor. But so yeah, they rush back to their village, find it on fire, and then they go attack Canute, and they want to take his fortress. And this is when Bodehill dies. This is when
I know.
I know, I was so upset.
I know.
The only good woman in that book.
I know. She takes a lightning bolt to the shoulder to protect Freya. And then Freya goes on a bloodlust, freaking butchering a bunch of people,
which has never happened before. And they're like, "What the fuck?"
Well, they even mention Bjorn's your eyes turned red.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ooh.
Yeah. You changed. I didn't recognize
red
you.
How? They were all red, or was it bloodshot from the smoke? What are we talking about here? At first I was like, what do you mean they turned red? But yeah, so she we left out a part. I just remembered. Before that, I think they're on their way back to their village. She learns how to fight from Bodehill and her women warriors.
Oh yeah.
And then she sees the specter on the beach after she's had a long day of practice, and she follows it into the forest, and she sees a cloaked woman figure leaving a rune circle on a tree, and she goes and touches it and sees that somebody has sent a message that, again, someone's betrayed them to Harold or whatever.
And then Bjorn shows up.
And then he's like, you can't go accusing Ylva of anything without concrete proof.
Yeah.
Because at this point she is convinced it is Ylva. That is, I don't know, trying to get Bjorn out of the way somehow, so her son will become heir to everything, because Bjorn is the firstborn or whatever. Okay, so yeah, we forgot that part. Now back, Bodehill dies. She goes on to her bloodlust killing spree. And what was that? As soon as she leaves to go talk to her mom.
Yeah, because they're
to find out more.
Because they're asking her about her. Oh, because during the blood ritual, at some point they find out that she is two blood.
Well, she doesn't find that until she talks out to her mom.
No.
Well, doesn't someone say that she is of two bloods or something that?
When all the gods appear,
yeah,
I think at the ritual, they're like, Freya of two bloods, we see you.
Yeah, but everyone just assumes that means god and mortal, not that she has two god
of course there's two bloods, and it made me think of you know, you've watched Friends when that girl is pregnant with Monica and Chandler's kid. And they're like, yeah, the two heartbeats are strong. And she's like, well, yeah, mine and the baby's.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, it's twins.
Yeah, they're like, no.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, that's what that meant. And of course, it made me think everyone's like, well, yeah, mortal blood and god blood, and then
god blood. Yeah, no one interprets it until she goes to see her mom, and she's like, I need to know about the night I was conceived.
Yeah, dude, guys,
and that's when her mom tells her. Yeah, that's when her mom tells her your brother was a very sickly baby, and a god showed up and offered to make him better if we had a little threesome. And after that her brother disappeared, was taken, and then another god showed up at the door with him and was like, if you let me put some of my blood in the baby also that you're carrying, you can have your son back.
They had 2 threesomes, right?
She says, the second god says vessel.
Yeah, there you go.
Let vessel. Me be your vessel and not blood.
Yeah.
And so Because, like, she also hears another voice. She says, a voice whispers to me. When you think, oh, is it not your conscience or is it someone else, you know?
Well, like, and as she starts having these, like, rageful outbursts, that's when, like, this other voice is, like, telling her basically to, like, it's the little devil on her shoulder being like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's when she kind of finds out, like, that there was 2 gods involved in all of that. And that's also when she realizes, like, my family does not give a fuck about me. Like, my mom only did this to save my brother. My parents have only ever done any of this shit that they'd done to me to save my brother. Like, when her powers did manifest, her dad was like, you cannot tell anybody about this, because he knew of the prophecy and he knew that people would start fighting over her and whatnot. So that's why she kept her powers a secret until she did. And then her mom is killed.
Well, her mom is killed because someone who comes to the house.
Harold's hunter comes.
Yes, comes to her mom's house, and her mom sells her out, and her mom is killed by the hunter because she's like, you're a piece of shit.
You betrayed your daughter. Yeah. She's like, you betrayed your daughter, you bitch. And then she shoots her.
Anyone who, like, betrays their daughter is a coward. And
But then
shoots an arrow
Freya still gets mad that her mom died, even though,
like, she had basically just, like, forsaken her mom, and then she sees their boat land, and she's like, we have to go back. And I'm like, your mom's a piece of shit. Don't worry about it.
Her mom calls her a whore, doesn't she?
Yes, her mom calls her and goes to slap her, and Bjorn stops her mom from slapping her.
Just like, oh my God.
Yeah, your mom sells you out, and then you're like, no, mom. And she like tries to get vengeance for her mom, and Bjorn's like, what the hell? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, then she runs off without Bjorn. And when she gets back to where the village is currently relocated to in that fortress, she, like, immediately attacks Ylva. It's like, you fucking traitorous bitch, like, you're the reason my mom's dead, and blah blah blah. And Snotty's like, what the hell is going on? Then Bjorn shows up. It's like, okay, we need to stop all this. And then go ahead.
Harold comes in, right? They're like, oh, we're gonna be attacked now.
Yeah, Harold and his army or whatever shows up.
Yeah.
And he's like, give me Freya and I'll go away. And Snotty's like,
well, I think Bjorn, whatever you say his name, he's Bjorn. Like, we can leave. We can go. And she's about to go. And of course they bring her fucking brother over.
Yes. And he's like, they took
Ingrid. She's pregnant. And I'm just like, forget him. Forget her. Like, she's not a friend.
Like, Ingrid did nothing for you. Like, your brother did nothing for you.
Exactly.
Fuck him.
She's like, okay, I'll fight. And I'm like, damn it.
And she finds out her brother's back there. She's like, what do you mean? It's like after the battle, and she's like been sleeping for days or whatever. And she's like, what do you mean my brother is here? And then someone's like, you know, oh, he got his leg healed by a healer, and he came and asked Snotty if he could be back in the war band or whatever, because that's what Snotty said. Like, Snotty broke his leg, which I did make note of that. I was like, Snotty was giving him shit, like, at the beginning about his loyalty. And I'm like, he showed great loyalty to his sister, because he said his sister said no, she doesn't want to marry you, so I'm not going to force her to marry you. And he's like, you should be showing better loyalty. I'm like, shut up. Shut up, Snotty. But yeah, so, like, Snotty had broken his leg at the beginning of the book, and he gets it fixed, and he comes back, and yeah, he brought Ingrid with him, and she's just like, you freaking idiots. Like, do you not realize, like, y'all are being, like, dangled over my head? Like, your protection rides on, like, my complicity, like, in all of this. And then, her brother's a piece of shit to her, even more. Calls her a mad bitch and whatever. And then Bjorn attacks him. And then that's when, Harold and all, that's when they leave to come back. She attacks Ylva, and then Harold shows up. And then, she isn't going to fight. And then, they bring her brother in. And he's like, they took Ingrid.
How did they end up leaving and having sex in a cave?
We're getting to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting that.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So Harold shows up, and he's like, Freya, come with me, and I'll leave everybody alone. She's like, I don't believe you. And she's like, I'm not going with you. And they do a shield wall, and she has all of them protected or whatever. And he has his little lightning bolt lady from earlier shoot at her shield, which then ricochets and hits the people that are outside of the gates that didn't have time to get in.
Yeah.
And so she starts unintentionally, like, killing her own people. And that's when she stops. She jumps over the fence or whatever and starts running towards the waterfall. Like, she is got her heart set on
jumping the cliff. Yeah. She's like, maybe I do not need to be here.
Well, she's basically, if I'm gone, no one will be fighting over me. And then Bjorn shows up and he's like, trust him to protect you. And they both dive off the falls together, and she invokes her protection stuff, and it saves them from dying from the falls. But of course, he's hoping that everyone thinks that they died. And then that's when they pass by his old home. He takes her to that cave, and then they get busy.
Like 80%.
They confess their love, and
this was, oh my god, this was a slow burn.
I know.
I
was getting towards the end, and I was just like, is it just gonna end with them fucking? Like,
I know.
Is that it?
A lot happens in that last little chunk.
Yeah.
Because, so at this point, we've had, she's tried to satisfy herself. She got interrupted. And then Bjorn satisfies her with his hands. And there's been a couple of, close, kisses or whatever, and he's told her multiple times, like, I want you, blah blah blah. And at one point she tells him, like, I want you so bad, but we can't risk that. Whatever, please keep your distance. And then with the pressure off of them, with people thinking that they're dead, she's like, okay, I can have what I want. Also, we can be together.
This is a point where they finally bathe in the book.
I mean, fully bathed. She's bathed multiple times.
She's done
she got bathed before her wedding. She got bathed at the temple thing.
Yeah, but
before she did her blood ritual.
Bits. That's kind of, Kesha shower or whatever.
There was a bathtub for one of them.
When he gets her off with his hand, she is so dirty and grimy. Because
so is he.
Yes, so is he. And all I could think about was oh my god, that hand. She is going to get an infection.
That's so funny.
But and then they're dirty and gross when they finally get to this cave, and of course there's a hot spring there or something.
Yeah.
So it's finally they can bathe. I'm like, thank God. Because
they bathe before he goes down on her.
Yeah, I know.
That's gotta count for something.
They bathe and then they get to it. I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm so happy they did that. Well, because as we know, I'm down for some fun time. But when the characters have not bathed for a while and they've been sweaty and dirty and they've gone on an adventure on horseback.
Girl, it's the Viking times. They didn't care about that.
It just
that was not a priority.
It takes me out of it. I'm just huh? And then
That's funny. I don't even think about that.
Yeah, I don't.
He'll go down on her, and she's been on horseback for 10 days and hasn't bathed, and they haven't changed out of whatever they're wearing. And I'm just oh my God. I would even be like, no. 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 And then they're shitting in the woods.
Yeah.
Oh, it must be filthy. It must be so filthy. So
That's
I was glad that they cleaned up.
Had a bathing scene beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh thank God. Oh good. They got clean.
Yeah.
Also, the sex scene, you know what? I think that monsters have ruined me because the sex scene was meh.
It was very mild compared to some of the other stuff that we have read, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I told y'all that that orc book that I read.
yeah.
What is it called? Oh my gosh. I read the second one too.
Was it Orc Games?
The second one is about a gargoyle and a werewolf. Oh my god, where is it? Oh, Games with the Orc by
Games with the Orc.
Catherine
Moon.
That book is filthy. Like, I couldn't read it at work.
That's
just
funny.
when I thought I was safe, I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. Y'all, you need to read it. And then we can talk about it.
Okay.
We could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this was definitely very mild compared to some of the things I've read lately.
Yeah, and I don't mind. It's not like I want to like up the filth factor.
No, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
it is different when you
have
gone from something that was so filthy to something like this. You're like, that's it.
And like I do like a slow burn, but I've been over them for a little bit. Like I want to like get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this like I said, a lot of stuff happens in that last little bit of this book. Yeah, they're in the cave. They get down and dirty. They're planning their future. She goes outside to pee, and then Harold shows up.
Caught with her pants down.
Yeah, right. Harold shows up, and he's got his lightning bolt lady, and then he's got some other warriors with him, and he's got his hunter.
Arrow one.
Yeah. And she's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And this is when it all comes out that Bjorn and Steinen, the storyteller, were both working with Harold or for Harold.
Yeah.
You also find out right before this scene that Bjorn is the reason his mom's house caught on fire. Like a man had shown up and was hurting her. And at that point, she had told him, like, never say that God's name or whatever. But he does it anyway. And then, he gets freaked out by the fiery axe because he's a child.
Yeah.
So he drops it. Their cabin catches on fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you also find out at this point that Snorri is not Bjorn's dad. It is Harold.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think by blood Snorri is right, but he thinks Harold.
I was under the impression that Harold was actually his dad. That it was Harold that was sleeping with
that's what I thought
seer.
too.
But yeah, I just assumed Harold had gone to visit her because she was a seer, and then they ended up having a little thing. But it could actually be that Snorri was, and that she just took him to Harold. Or maybe Snorri thought that he was. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You find out also, his mom is not dead. She has been living at Harold. She is the seer that he went to go see when they were on the Sacred Mountain.
Because it shows that I think he says that the mom took him to Harold for protection.
Yeah. What's it called? Steinen, blows some smoke in her face, makes her pass out. They get on the boat. And then she tries to jump off.
Where does she find out about hell?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. She is really upset that she found out that Bjorn and whatever had like betrayed her. Yeah. So she starts yelling like, I curse all of y'all, blah, blah, blah. And that's when the vines pop up. And like her eyes had turned red. And all of the people there that didn't have any god blood in them died. And then that's when Harold's like, oh, you've got two gods' blood like in you. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she's like, he goes, you have hell and Hiln or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's when she finds out.
Yeah.
And then Steinen blows the smoke in her face. She passes out and then wakes up on the boat headed to
Harold's.
What was it? Nordland?
Yeah.
Nordland.
Yeah, Nordland.
Which is where Harold is the ruler.
Yeah, that's where Harold's the king. And then, Bjorn basically is like, kind of begs her, like, come, don't fight like this. Like, just come with us. Like, they think you're dead. You can have a life here. Because Harold says, like, I won't force you to, do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It kind of ends with her being like, okay, I'll go back. I'll go there with y'all. And then her kind of thinking like, oh, maybe I can have like a life.
Yeah.
Where I'm
That
not.
she can control her
She
own
control her own fate or whatever.
face. Yeah.
She's still reeling from like the plot twist though.
A lot of shit has happened in the last,
It was very
8 hours.
It was very SJM of the author.
24 hours, right? It was I felt like a lot of shit happened, but it wasn't like completely overwhelming. I also kind of had my suspicions pretty early on because I was like, Ylva's too obvious of a choice.
Yeah.
So at one point I was like, it's either Bjorn, and then it kept emphasizing like it was a female form. I'm like, well, you can't mistake Bjorn for a female form. So I was like, it's gotta be Steinen. Like, she's the only other one that's like kind of mysterious.
Supposed to be like this very sturdy and tall woman.
Steinen? No.
I thought
that's
she
Boathill.
was. Yes, Boathill. Okay, never mind.
Boathill. Yeah.
Steinen's kind of like beautiful. Like, mentions her having nice cleavage more than once.
Oh,
and yeah. She's supposed to be very pretty and whatever. And what's funny is I thought they did a good job though of making like Bjorn and her seem kind of like enemies in a way, and he kept implying like you're spying on me, and you're made to believe that she's spying on him for Snorri, but she's actually keeping an eye on him for Harold.
Yeah.
And of course, she can get away with being gone because she just left for her journey to spread Freya's story.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what Snorri thinks. But
okay.
I am curious to see, like, obviously there's going to be more fighting and whatnot in the second book. Like, there's going to be they come back and Snorri realizes like she's not dead.
I wonder if Freya's going to become a villain.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if she decides to fight for King Harold, maybe she could be portrayed as kind of like a villain to her own people.
Well,
but
look, she'll succumb to the hell's
power
of her.
Well, that was another thing is like, in the beginning, forgot to mention, like when she does the tattoo ritual, she ends up with 2 tattoos and everyone's like, what the fuck? That's weird. Why do you have 2 tattoos? Usually you just have one tattoo.
The other one's like it's because she's burned.
Yeah, it's on her burned hand. They can't tell what exactly it is. But then, when you realize like, oh shit, she's got like 2 gods. That's why she's got the 2 tattoos. And then she's also the first daughter of Hell. Like, there's never been a godchild thing that has had Hell's blood.
Yeah.
So.
I thought it was just Hiln. They said just Hiln. Well, the shield one. They've never had one. Well, is it the same for the other one?
Yeah, I think it's the same as the other one. Because I feel like I think at the end Harold says something like, you're the first daughter of Hell or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I think. Fuck, now I don't know. I thought that's what I heard.
Don't ask me. I don't remember.
I don't. Yeah, I was like, I don't remember catching that.
Hold on, let me see.
Of course, I was listening to the audiobook super fast. So
I mean, I listen at like 1.5. So
I was like,
what's funny is like you think it's like it sounds really fast, but if you try to follow along with the book while you're listening to it, I'm like, oh, I actually read faster than this. Like when I just read.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because I had it at 2, and I feel like it was still kind of a little slow.
Slow.
Like, I feel like I feel like I've listened to faster than this, but okay. But I didn't want to go up more than 2.
Yeah, I've never gone up to 2. The highest I've gone is 1.5. Let's see. Yeah, so he says she's Hell's daughter, the first of her kind.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so she's the first in both.
Yeah.
Yeah. because they also don't know much about
They don't know a lot about him.
the shield maiden as well, or the shield god.
She's like a lesser god, according to their stuff.
Which they like to point out also.
A lot, yeah. They're like, nobody knows anything about this god. She's a lesser god. But yeah, it says, Harold stepped down from the rock on which he perched, moving toward me. That was what they meant by child of two bloods, not god and mortal, but of two gods. And then that's when he says, she's Hell's daughter, the first of her kind.
Yeah, so like Freya's stupid, and she's the daughter of a lesser god. It's just like,
which I mean, but she's still like super important. So even though she's the daughter of a lesser god,
yeah,
I think she constantly says that. I think she's just like it's not even a suit like a less god. Like why me? Like why am I destined?
She's like,
for
well,
this,
then why has everyone like got a hard on for me then?
Yeah. Well, and you also find out when she goes to talk to her mom that like her mom thought that maybe it was Freya that had come to them originally, and that's why they name her Freya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she realizes that that is not the god that came to see her. When she does invoke her powers when she's a kid, and it's the shield thing.
Yeah. I feel bad for Freya in this book because everyone was so shitty to her, and then she didn't have any autonomy, and then every time she tried to assert herself or didn't make a fully thought out decision, because one, like her life drastically changed within like 8 hours, and then she's also 20 and she's trying to figure out what's going on, and these people just like invade her life, and they're just like, you're so stupid and you're just a stupid girl, and you know, just do what we tell you, stupid girl of a lesser goddess. And she's just like, what the fuck, like I didn't ask for any of this.
Yeah, she also puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on herself because she feels so. Like they make a point a bunch to say that, you know, everyone's fated; their fates are decided by the Norns, except for the god kids. Like their fate is, you know, unwritten, and then the people around them can be affected by that and whatever. So she keeps making these decisions, and then when things turn out bad, she like takes it to heart, like this is my fault because I altered their fate. And then Bjorn's like, you don't know that, like it could have been their fate to, you know, this village, our village to have been, you know, caught on fire while we were gone. Just because you made other decisions doesn't mean that those decisions resulted in this could have just already been in the plan.
Like that could have been their fate to die at that point.
Yeah. Same with Boat Hill. She's really upset. She blames herself for Boat Hill's death. And he's like, you can't like do that. That might have just been her time to die. Yeah.
Like this, like as frustrated as I was with her, I also was like, this girl's going through so much.
She's going through a lot. Yeah. Like, well, I mean, like she was a fishmonger's wife, and then all of a sudden became the Jarl's wife, and then told she's like this great symbol, basically. Of,
she is what the prophecy has foretold.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then Bjorn for me as a male love interest was kind of meh. Like, I felt like he didn't really have any depth other than he was like really hot, and Freya was like really lustful for him.
I feel like maybe if we did get his point of view, that maybe that would be different. But
which I think why, even though I enjoyed the book, like the single point of view from her the entire book, I was like, oh, okay. Like I wanted to see, I guess that was so we wouldn't see the twist coming, because
I think like Elaine said earlier, I think if we had gotten his point of view, then I don't know if we would have gotten enough of it to be satisfying without really ruining the twist at the end. But I still liked it overall. I really enjoyed it.
I kind of knew ahead of time some of the twists. Like I think I made a note at one point being like, oh, I bet his mom's still alive.
Same.
And
it's when you read as much as we do, it is hard to catch us off guard.
Yeah,
you know,
we read so much.
Yeah. So like someone else that doesn't read as much, some of these things may have been like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. But we read so much, and there's only so many different storylines you can go with or twists you can try to do. So every time something pops up, I'm like, this is too obvious of like leading me in this direction. I'm not falling for it this time.
I think I knew by the 2 tattoos, and I was like, oh, it's probably by 2 gods.
Oh, it's okay. I didn't catch it then.
And then the gods saying the 2 bloods, and I was like, okay, I knew it. Yeah, this is for sure. She has two gods.
That's awesome. I did not catch it that fast at all. That part of it, yeah.
I was like, maybe.
When they're at the top of the mountain, he's like, oh, I went to go see a seer. And I was like, oh, his mom's still alive.
Yeah.
Like, she has to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think when she saw the figure talking to Harold, that's when I was just like, oh, it has to be his mom.
I thought it was either his mom or
she
Steinen.
thought Yevla. And I was like, no.
Yeah, well, when she thought it was Elva, I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Also,
like,
Elva doesn't seem that smart.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, Danielle L. Jensen did a good job, though, of making it like seem like, oh, she would do anything to protect her son and her people, that she would even betray like her husband. And I was like, okay, I can see this. I can see how this would fool, or catch someone that doesn't read as much as we do, like off guard.
I still think it was good.
Oh yeah, no, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I still thought it was good. Yeah, because I was like, it was still kind of a twist for Bjorn and Steinen, but even though I felt very hesitant about them, I still kind of wasn't surprised, and I was like, okay, of course, yes.
Yeah.
But I was still a little surprising, but
the part where Freya is telling Bjorn, like, no, Story is your dad. Story is your dad. And he's like, no, Harold's my dad. And she's like, no, Story is. And it's like, Freya, I think he knows who his dad is. Like, why are you questioning this?
Well, like, and there were moments in time where I was like, oh, okay, like, he doesn't want to go after Harold. He holds affection for those people. Like, he was raised by them and things like that.
Yeah.
And when they're in the cave and she's like, are you a Scotlander or a Nordland or whatever?
Yeah.
And he's just like, doesn't answer. And then she's like, says it again. And he's like, Nordlander.
And then he was like, let me distract you by going down on you.
I also found, I don't know, it's obviously like a cultural thing for like the Vikings and stuff. It was like her unwavering loyalty to all those people that were terrified of her.
Yeah.
Some of them wanted her dead. Like, fuck them,
like,
man.
For no reason. Like, all they've done is treated you like shit, and like you're a dumb bitch.
Yeah.
And
you're just undyingly loyal to them.
You're just like a pawn in their scheme. And why do you care that you're on this boat with Harold? Like, if Harold's like, come with me and Bjorn and we'll be chill, I'd be like, oh, thank God.
Sounds like you're gonna go on a vacation.
Yeah. It's like, oh, thank God, because I'm exhausted. I need to get away from these people. They're so mean to me. It's like, girl, just go with them. Yeah. Like, I don't know why she has so much loyalty to them. Maybe because they took her away from that fishmonger life, but still,
I guess.
that's the only good thing they did. Like,
all the people there in general, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like,
people shouldn't even know. Like, the other Jarls and the other clans. Like, she's just like, these are all my people. Like
no, they're not
all killing each other.
No, they're not.
Because of you and the what you represent. I'm just like, forget about them, okay?
Like, if I were her, I would have tried to escape so many times, because it's like, okay, you got me out of this village.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck
when
all of
Bjorn
you.
And her go to her mom's or whatever, and she finds out her mom's a piece of shit, and he's like, run away with me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's go.
Right.
And she's like, no, we have to go back. I'm like, no, you don't.
No,
you don't have to go back.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, girl, just leave with your man.
I did think that was an interesting, like they're in the cave, they've had this lovely time, they're talking about their future, and then all of a sudden, it's like she woke up and had like a mood swing and was like, I don't trust you anymore. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, whoa, hold on, what? Where's this coming from?
It's just like, girl, get over yourself.
Yeah. Well, I also found it kind of like, I guess maybe because she was put in like some more high stress situations and things like that. But I'm like, Hell's power, like she gets angry. She's quick to anger. So I'm like, her eyes never turned red at any point, like in her childhood and whatnot. Like no one ever saw her like.
Well, they told her.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they told her like not to do her powers. So maybe she knew that.
Well, she just knew not to say Hiln's name.
Yeah.
But I'm like, she never got like so angry that her eyes turned red. Like that never happened until later.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, I think someone would have noticed.
Yeah, especially with like her being with Vragi.
Yeah.
Like she was like, well, yeah. Like I like how it starts off with her being like, my mom should have taught me how to like control my temper.
Yeah.
Or
But,
not to like
it first
kill
pops
my
out
husband.
because she's like, I curse you, and then it comes out. So maybe she had to say those words.
Maybe she had to get, that's what I was saying. Like maybe as like being put in those high stress situations is what like really brought it out. But yeah, I'm just like, what? Her eyes never turned red before?
Yeah.
I would have thought that would have happened.
Well, I think with her husband especially, she really just tried to like, not bother.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, he's a piece of shit. I'm not trying to rile him up. You know, she's just trying to get through her day with as little interaction as possible. So yeah, I will read the second book.
Yes, definitely.
It looks interesting.
Yes,
me too.
I'm curious if we're going to pick up like right where we left off in the last book or the first book, or if it's going to have like a little bit of a time jump.
Yeah.
Especially if it's only a duology. I feel like a time jump where we don't necessarily see her like get stronger and learning like how to fight is what I'm assuming is going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
I think since a duology, that book's going to be thick.
Possibly, yeah.
That book's going to be thick.
I wonder if it says anything on the, because I think you can pre-order it now.
Let's see.
I was like, none of her books in the Bridge Kingdom series are like overly large.
A Curse Carved in Bone. It says it's going to be 368 pages.
Oh.
Interesting. Maybe because she's laid a lot of groundwork in the first one. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe we'll hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it does say it's a duology, the conclusion to this Norse-inspired fantasy romance. Shield Maiden fights to break the shackles of prophecy and to overcome the betrayal of the man who broke her heart.
Okay. We're being a little dramatic with that. It's not, again, how is it a betrayal?
You could forgive him.
How is it a betrayal?
Because he's betraying her people.
But again, like, why? Well, like we were talking about, why would you have loyalty to these people who've only treated you like shit?
I know.
Like,
yeah.
This man saved you.
That's how it is in her mind.
I know. You know what? She's 20. It's okay. I'll forgive her. When you're 20, like, I get it. But
listen, your brain's not fully developed till 25. So
that's true.
She's got some room for growth.
But yeah, I mean, look, if I was in this situation, first of all, I'd give a big old middle finger to everyone and be like, I'm peacing out.
Yeah,
I know.
And then
the second my mom called me a whore and tried to slap me, I'd be like, you know, South is sounding pretty good right now.
It's like, I owe these people nothing.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah.
And then Bjorn's like, come with me. I'm like, you don't even have to finish that sentence. Just say, come with me. I'm like, okay,
yeah, let's go. Where are we going?
Yes.
And then he's like, well, I had a whole thing prepared. It's like, not needed.
I hear Ireland's good this year.
I will go with you. Like, where do you want to run off to? Because this is bullshit.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, I don't have time to struggle like this. Like, I'm tired. It's been a very rough 7 days.
Right?
No.
Yeah, this all happens in the span of like
2 weeks.
maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah. That's a lot. There's a lot to take in from, you know, being a fishmonger's wife, and then all of this happens.
And like, you will save the world. I'm like, do I have to?
Yeah. Just like,
Yeah,
well,
right.
so like after that battle where she like has her little crazy red eye bloodlust killing spree and whatever, and she like spends a couple days like just kind of wallowing in bed, and Ilva gives her shit for that, and I'm like, where were you? Shut up.
Like, excuse me, ma'am. Self-care.
I will take 3 days to lay in bed and not shower if I want to.
Right.
I killed people. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called self-care.
It's like, ma'am, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, no.
Right.
You shut up and leave me alone. But yeah. Okay, that's all I got.
Same.
I'll
Same.
stop now. So yeah, we'll have to do an episode on the second book
Yes.
Yes.
when it comes out. Okay. As always, thank you, listener, for joining us. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on our socials. We are Book Talk Babes Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and Book Talk Babes on Goodreads and StoryGraph. Please email us topics, questions, and book recommendations to booktalkbabespod@gmail.com, or DM us on all... Damn it. Or DM us on any of our socials. Everything is listed in the description. Have a lovely day and week. Until next time.
Bye.